The Gemara says in Shabbos, Tonu Rabbanon, mitzvahs Chanukah ner ishu beisai. That the main takone of Chachomim was that each house, the father of the house, should light one candle each night. Then the Gemara says, Hamahadrin, ner lekol echad. Each one of the house lights one candle. Hamahadrin, min hamahadrin. Then the first night he lights one candle, then he adds one candle each night till the eighth night is 8 candles. That's how we do. So in the 8th night, each one of the family lights 8 candles. So it comes out sometimes it's dozens and dozens of little candles. Says Teisfest, that's not the pshat in the Gemara. The Gemara says, if you yourself want to light candles, not your family members, then you add one candle each night. But if every one of the family lights candles, and then in the 8th night it's going to be 8 candles for each one, you'll never know if it is because there is a lot of people or because it's the 8th night. So therefore, even if you are Mahadrin, Mina Mahadrin, you don't need to do that each one of the house should have 8 candles. And that's how it paskened in Shulchan Aruch. Let's see what the Shulchan Aruch says in Siman Tov Reish Ein Aleph. Kama neres madlik. How many candles do you have to light? Belayla Horishon madlik echad. Mikam ve'iloch meisi ve'iloch echad b'chol laylo ad shebeleil achen iyish meino. Ve'afilu im rabim bnei habayis leyadliku yeser. Because if there is a lot of bnei bayis and each one would light a lot of candles, it's going to be a balagan, and you wouldn't know what it's for. We don't do that. We, each one of the family members, the boys, light the first night 1 candle and second night 2 candles. So if there is 8 people in the house, so the 8th night will be 64 candles. Even though Teisfes does not explain that way, even though in Shulchan Aruch they don't pasken like that, but we do that. Why? Because that's the Rambam. We just explained how the Teisfes is learning the halacha. Rambam is not learning like that. As we see in the Rambam, Hilchas Chanukah, Perik Dal, Halacha Aleph, V'hamahader yeser al ze, ve'eser mitzvah min hamuvchor, madlik neir lekol echod b'layla rishon u'meisi ve'elech. Each one of the family members adds 1 candle every night. And that's how the Ramo is adding a Hagoah in the Shulchan Aruch, that we don't do like you say. In Siman Tov Reish Ein Aleph Sif Beis, after the din of the Shulchan Aruch, it says in the Hagoah, the Ramo, V'yesh emrim, the kol echad mibnei habayis yadlik, v'chein minek poshut. So that's why we do it. We do like the Rambam explains the Gemara, and the Ramo says that that's our minhag. Actually, it's very strange. Usually, the Rambam was a Sephardi. Teisfes was Ashkenazi. The Rambam lived in Spain, in Morocco, and then in Egypt. Teisfes was in France. We, the Ashkenazim, usually are paskening like Teisfes. The Sephardim are paskening like the Rambam. Here we see something strange. The Shulchan Aruch, the Rabbi Yosef, who is also a Sephardi, paskening like Teisfes, not like the Rambam. And that's how the Sephardim are neheg, that they are not adding for each one a candle. There are more paskins like the Rambam, which is a Sephardi. So the Taz in Tov Reish Ein Aleph points out this point that we find here something strange. Bekam yesh chidush. There is a chidush in this halacha. B'minhag shasfardim neagim keteisves, even though Teisves is Ashkenazi, and they are doing like Teisves, which is the Shulchan Aruch. V'Ashkenazim ki Rambam, v'zel imutzinu b'shar mekemes. We don't find it usually, but that's how it is here. So we are like the Rambam, that each one of the family members adds one candle every night. So what is for us important, this halacha? So we are speaking now about girls lighting. Girls are not lighting. They rely on their father in the house. Why? It says, Sefer HaMenogim, the last line, Habonim, the sons, matchilim lahadlik neres Chanukah, eizes mon kedim haba mitzvah. Habonis, ein madlikes bifnei atzmon. Isha, baile mitzio. It's enough that her husband or her father is lighting candles for her. Does it mean that the takona was made only for boys and not for girls? No, that's not the case. Let's see what the Gemara says again. The Gemara says in Shabbos, Chav Gimel Amud Aleph, Noshim chayoves b'neir Chanukah she'af hein hoyu be'iseh hanes. So the din is for them just like for men. So why are they not lighting and they are lying on their father? So according to Tesis, everything is clear. Because Tesis says that even a Mahadrim and a Mahadrin, only the father lights candles, and it's enough for everyone. So they're relying on their father, just like Tesis explains the Gemara, just like the Shulchan Aruch Paschals. Even though the boys are mahadar to do each one additional candle, because it's for them a schus, so they want to do it in the best way, so they do it like the Rambam says. Just like the Veres Shabbos that we discussed last time, that this is a mitzvah that girls are mainly trying to have the schus of doing that, and not the boys. Just the same thing is by Chanukah, it's mainly for the boys, but not mainly for the girls. The chiyuv of Neres Chanukah and of Neres Shabbos is for the boys and the girls the same thing. Me'ikar adin. It is just that the girls want to have a schus of Neres Shabbos because it's part of Chane, Chale, Nide, and Adlokas HaNeir, so they are doing it in the best way. The boys are relying on what the mother of the house lights for them. Same thing is by Chanukah the opposite way. Each one of the boys wants to have his personal participation in the Pirsum Denise, and the girls are relying on their father. And not only it's b'di'evet, according to Tesis, that's l'chatchila the minhag. So they are relying on that. They are relying on their father. So what does the Gemara say? That Noshim chayoves b'nei Chanukah she'af hein hoyu be'iseh hanes. It's their obligation too. That's for a girl that rents a room where she lives. And it's her obligation to light the candle Chanukah, just like for boys. She can't say that it's not our mitzvah. The Gemara says that ladies are just like men. And in the Sefer HaMenogim it says, Habonis ein madlikes b'tzmei atzmon. For themselves, they rely on their father. The lady, Isha, bailo mitzio. She is relying on the husband, but she has the obligation. So if she rents a room, she learns in school, and she rents a room, so it's her obligation to light candles. And if there is two girls in that they rent together a room, then we have the other Gemara that we have already discussed last time. The Gemara says, of Gimel Amud Aleph, Omar Rav Sheishes, Achsanoi Chayiv B'nei Chanukah. Omar Rab Zeire, that when I was in school in Yeshiva, I gave a brute to participate, to have a shutfes in the Nei Chanukah. I couldn't light for myself. I had to rely on the owner, but I need the participation, so I gave him a brute to participate. The same thing would be here. If there is two girls that rent an apartment, or a few girls rent an apartment or a room, they have obligation to light Chanukah candles just like somebody else. They are not separate. They are not potter from the chiyuv of the mitzvahs of Neros Chanukah. So what does it mean that one girl has to give a few cents to the other girl every night? She should have a participation in that candle, just like Rab Zeira said, that I gave Brite, I gave a few pennies to the Ushpize, to the owner of the house, that he should participate me in the candles. Actually, she doesn't have to give pennies every day. We already discussed that Shabbos and Chanukah has the same dinim. So when the same thing is also by Shabbos, when the bochrim they have to give they have to have participation in the candles that the lady of the house is lighting. So he says he should give a pruto. In Simon Simrish Samar Kimel Sif Tes, in the middle line, in the bold. Oy sheyaknelei ba'alabais chelik bener shelei b'matona. One of the girls that lights the candle of Chanukah has to give to the other girl to pick it up and to zeiche part of it. But they both have the obligation of lighting Chanukah candles, and they don't have to give a brute. If she gives it to her to pick it up and to be zeicher, so now it belongs to both of them, and one lighting the candles for both of them.
What do you mean, give it to her to pick up?
Because when I give it to you, it should become yours. When I pick it up for you, it doesn't help. It has to be change of hands. So you have to pick it up. And then becomes part of it becomes yours.
But then it's not mine anymore. I gave it to her.
No, you gave her participation. Like the Alter Rebbe says, Sheyaknelei ba'al habayis chelik bener shelei b'matona. Part of it should become yours. So now we are both the owners. Then there is another way that Rab Zeira says. After I got married, my wife in my house lights the candle, because everyone has to light candles of Chanukah. So she lights for me too. So I don't have to give any more, because in my house someone lights candles already. According to that, when two girls rent an apartment, why do they have to light candles? Let them tell their parents to get them part in the candles that they're lighting at home. And then it's already like I'm having a participation in the candles that is in my house, not in my dorm. Just like Reb Zeira says, Bosser de nesive itze amine hashto vade litzrichne de komadlik yor leibe gebisoi. It's not the same, Because the Alter Rebbe explains this the minute that someone in my house lights candles for me by Reb Zera, it helped. Why did it help? Because I'm the owner of the house. So when she lights candles, part of it belongs to me. Let's see what the Alter Rebbe says in Siman Reish Samach Gimel, the second line. Hoirech mekayim b'ma shemadlikin ner Shabbos bebeisoi misheloi. Zera was the owner of the house, so that was enough. But if it's only a girl, she's not the owner of her own house. So when there is candles, it still doesn't belong to her. They'll have to get the candles to somebody that should pick it up and should be zeicher for her. But even this is not enough. When Reb Zera relied on the candles in his house, he had candles, Chanukah candles, where he was at. They lit the candles there. So then, it's enough if someone in his house lights candles for him, and he sees the candles here. But if he doesn't have let's say a girl is traveling and she's going to be on the train the whole night. So she'll tell her father, have me in mind and see that I should have a participation in the candles that you light Chanukah at home. She should do so if she is traveling a whole night. But that's not enough. We see the din in Shulchan Aruch Siman Tov Reish Ayin Zayin Seif Gimel. יש אומרים שאף על גב שמדליקים נרלוב בתוך ביסי, אם הוא במוקים שאין ישראל מדליק ברוכס, if he's in a place that there is no candles, he should light there with the brocha. He chayav liras aneres, v'chein nergin. So in any case, if there is two girls in a dorm, in an apartment that they rent, they have to light her candles. But one can light the candles, so she could give her to her to pick it up, to have participation in that, and then she has lighting. But she can't avoid it. What they light in the house is not enough, because where she is, she needs to see the lighting of the candles.
So what's the story with Zera?
What?
How does the story with Reb Zera help? If he was away.
Reb Zera?
Yeah.
Because where he was, they lit candles, Chanukah.
Okay.
So he saw the candles, but it's not his. So in the beginning he had to give participation. But after, in his house, they are lighting candles from his own candles. So lighting for candles for him from his own money is already in the house. Here where he is lighting candles. So both together are enough. So therefore, if she is staying in a dorm, it's not enough what they light for her in the house. Yes, if there is no other choice, let's say she is traveling on a train all night, so she will ask her parents to be mezakeh her part in the, so at least they should light for her. But she doesn't see the candles.
She has to see them being lit
Yeah.
as someone is in the middle of lighting them, or does she?
I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it's enough if you see the lighting,
You have to
them
come home
lighting.
before it goes out.
Yeah.
Right, because I always thought I have to be home when my father lights the candles.
It's certainly better, but if you see the lighting in the candles, it's maybe also enough what it says.
No, just a quick question. We don't have to pay we don't have to give money to our father to be.
No, but your father has to have,
Have some money.
so he has to give it to someone to pick it up for you. You should have participation in that candles. That's the, yes.
You made an equivalence between many males want to light the menorah because they feel like that's their source, to girls wanting to light candles, it seems much more strict for menorah because it's actually mahadrin, while many girls lighting candles is completely based on a heritage.
Yes.
So
Usually they find a way out. And we'll discuss now what is their way out and what's the better way, the best way. First, we discuss the main takona. The Gemara says girls also have. And the Sefer HaMinogim says that they're relying on their father or their brothers, whatever. But if they are in a dome, it doesn't help because they have to see a light and they have to participate in the light. So the best thing is that one of the girls lights candles and she gives it to the other one to pick it up and she has a participation in that. That's the best way according
wouldn't
to
it be
the
more mahadrin if everyone lit? Because at this point they're not like in the family unit. Then when minhag they can rely on their father. But as an individual, why is their friend like it's not mahadrin for their friend to light for them?
If the girl lights one and the second night two, even a Tesa says that you don't have to each one.
But we go by the Rambam.
So we go by the Rambam, so the girls rely on that. Even without it, their Yetze with the main takone, Ishu Beisei. If they want to be Mahader, so they're Mahading it according to Tesas. It's only a Hidu, and they are not looking for special Hidu. So they're relying on their father. And that's what it says in Sefer HaMinogim, that that's the minhag, they should rely on that.
I once saw a letter from the Rebbe. I don't know if it was a letter, it was like it was definitely from the Rebbe, and it was on Sefer HaMinogim that why does this minhag exist? It said women, it's because Ishta Kegufay. So why daughters, why should they be potter like more than a son? And I think Rebbe wrote just they don't want to be different than their mother. So if their mother's not lighting, they don't want to light.
Could be. But at least they have to be Yoitze. They are not doing the Mahadrim. But the din that they have to be the Yetze. So if they're in their house, there's no problem. The problem is when they stay in a dome. Then they can't rely on their father. Then they have to light candles. That's the Meikir Adin.
But this is only minhag Chabad, right? Because Ashkenaz women do light candles. Some.
Do they?
Some.
Could be.
Why wouldn't, right, it's mahadrin for everybody.
Yeah.
When I was in the dorm, we gave a pruta, like I lit the candles because I like do it at my house also, but then like the girls gave me a pruta. But I don't know if that's like.
The girls give a pruta if they are where you light the candles. Yeah.
Yeah,
Why was Zera's wife lighting?
Because she was alone at home.
She was on his away.
He got married. He continued learning in yeshiva in Kailo, and she stayed alone home, so she had to light candles.
I think he should light in his dorm and she would be like to him.
Yes.
Can she be? Can she be at 10?
She could be Yetze, but if he is lighting in his dorm and in the house nobody is lighting,
At home, the woman can be the one
they
lighting.
have to
They have to
light the
have
candles in the house.
Yeah.
For pursuing.
That's Meikir Adin. But let's be frank. Usually now seminar girls, what they do, many places, they go to the principal's house and he gives them latkes or something like this, and he lights candles for all of them. Why does it help? It helps because since he gives them latkes, so they are his guests. And when they are his guests, so they can rely on the candle lighting of the principal. Just like Shabbos, the boys, they never light candles for themselves. If they go to eat by someone, they are his guest, and they are lighting their candles. So they are relying on the candles of the lady of the house. So same thing here. They go to this principal that he lights candles and he gives them something to eat. So they become his guests, and then they rely on him just like when they are at home. But this is not so simple. It's a complicated way to rely on that. So we'll discuss today what's behind it. And then we'll see. The best way is just like we said before in the dorm. One girl should light, or in the dorm, could be in the dining room if there is a dining room in the school, in the seminar. So one girl could light the candles for everybody. That's the best way. But if they're relying on going to the principal, we'll discuss the details. It's not so simple. Let's go back to the Gemara. The Gemara says, Omar Rav Sheishes, Achsanoi, Chayev b'nei Chanukah. And that's why Zere had to participate with the Pruta. What means Achsanoi? Says Rashi, Oireach, a guest. If a guest comes to my house, he also needs to. If it's been the girls of the house, then it's Bnei Beise. Each Beise means it includes all the Bnei Beise. But if the girl is just a guest, so says the Gemara, says Rashi, that a guest also has to participate in the candle lighting. So she would also have to give a pruta. We don't do that, because we don't do that on Shabbos too. In Shabbos we go to somebody's house, so the boys are not lighting candles. And the reason is, because yes, Rashi says Achsanoi is a guest, but the Magen Avraham brings from Rashal, שגם הבחורים צריכים להשתתף, ואפשר דווקא כשאיכל בפני עצמי, אבל אם סמוך על שולחן בן הבית, הוא בכלל בני בייסי, ומדין אין צריך להדליק, אלא אם רצה ביש במהדרים. וכן מובא בבית יוסף בשם אריה אבוב. So the poskim say, if you are a guest, you don't have to. Achsanoi is not that you are a guest. Sanoi means that you stay there and you have your own food. If you are staying in a dorm, in a renting apartment, each girl has her own food. One is not a guest by the second one. That's what we discussed till now, that each one has to have a participation in the Ner Chanukah. But if you are a guest, then it's good enough. That's how we rely, the boys rely on that on Shabbos, and that's why the seminar girls are relying that on Chanukah when they go to their principal, that he lights for them. Yes, he says so, but it's still not clear. Because even when he says that if you are somuch al shulchan banabais bichlal bnei beisei, somuch al shulchan banabais means that you eat by them, not now. You're somuch, you always eat by them. The same thing the Alter Rebbe says in Reish Samar Gimel, the line before the last. Aval imu somuch al shulchan banabais nasek bnei beisei. Samuch al shulchan banabais means you stay by them and you eat by them, not if you just come for a meal. But we are relying even on that, even if you come for one meal. Just like we see with the boys for Shabbos. The boys for Shabbos, when they go to eat by someone, they don't light the candles. They rely on them because they are oireach. So that same thing, the girls are relying on when they are going to the principal. If she gives them something to eat, latkes or cookies or whatever, the coming guest, and then they're relying on his candle lighting.
What's the mitzvah of lighting of Hanukkah candles for a girl? We said it's to see candles?
If you are in a separate place, it's obligation for you to light candles. If you are, let's say, home by yourself, the father went away, you have to light candles. That's why Reb Zera's wife, when she was home at home, she has to light candles. If she is in a place that she sees the candles, then she needs participation. Then she gives a few pennies, or she picks it up to have participation in the candles. That's if she sees the candles. But here, when they rely on the guest, they just becoming like the family members of the principal, because they are guests. How do they become the guest? Because they ate a latke or a cookie. It's very strange to say that by eating a latke or a cookie, you're becoming somewhere hashulchonoi. You are their guest. But the girls are usually relying on that because they don't want to go light candles for themselves. They never do. Only Shabbos they do. So therefore they rely. So they say, that's also enough. It's not simple. And the Shulchan Aruch, you have two Pirushim, the Taz and the Magen Avraham. Both say it does not help. Not because you're not a guest. Even if you would go to the principal's house and you will light candles there, you would not be Yetzer. Because it's not your house. Issue base has to be your place.
So that's the difference between Shabbos candle and Hanukkah candles.
Yes, Shabbos candles, it's because
The meal.
the meal. Hanukkah, it says Ishu Beisai, because the house needs the Pirsum Nisa. It's more negeya, not by girls, by girls at the seminar. It's more negeya by chasana. Usually, if you have a chasana, Hanukkah, so first they have the Kabbalas Ponim, and then they go to the chuppah, and then they go to the chasana. And where do they light candles? So they light in the hall. Says the Taz and the Magen Avraham, it doesn't help. It's not your house. You are here now to eat, to have a chasana, to have a meal, but that's not your house. Boys, a family is going to their parents for a meal on Hanukkah. So they want to light the candles by the parents' house. They say, no, it's not your house. Let's see what they say. Let's see what the Magen Avraham says, and let's see what the Taz says. Magen Avraham in Siman Tov Reish Ein Zayin, Sif Vov, that you have to light the candles b'mokim she'oichel, hainu b'kvius, that you are always eating here, so it becomes your house. Aval mi she'oichel b'beis chavere b'ikroi, by temporary you eat by a friend's house, tzorch lahadlik b'beisei, because this is not your house. The same thing says the Taz. בזה שיכל כאן שו ישתיים ויושב למקיימי, אין שום סבורה לימר שידליק שום ולא בבייסי. That's not your house. So the problem in going to the principal's house and to become his guests, that when he gives you a cookie, even if he gives you a full meal, not the problem is that you are not a guest. You may be a guest, but that's not your house. You have to light the candles in your house. So they say it doesn't help when you go to a friend's house. It's very difficult to do that. Because let's say b'chasana, what would we do between the Kabbalas Ponim and the chuppah, or between the chuppah and the suda? They should go, each one should go home, light candles, and then come back to the hall. Usually it's hard for people to do that. So they light candles where the chasana is. Says the Magen Avraham and the Taz, it doesn't help, it's not your house.
Why wouldn't it help if that's where they're eating?
They're eating now, but not always. So it's not you becoming your house when you eat one time. If you eat one time in a restaurant, it becomes your house, it's not your house. So says the Magen Avraham, B'mokim she'oichel, you have to light the candles where you eat. Hainu bikvius, when you always eat there. Avol misha eichel bebeis chaver by koi, you're just one time eating by your friend. Tzor ladlik bebeisei, you can't light the candles by your friend. Same thing says the Taz, that bezeh sheyechal kan shoish time v'yoshev im kemei, you are here for a few hours and then you go back home. This doesn't become your house. Ain't shum svara, there is no common sense to say that you should light candles and not be basic, because it's not your house. So it's very difficult to do it the proper way if it is a chasana, or if you go to a friend for a meal and Chanukah, or anything else. It has to be in your apartment where you stay, or if the dining room where you eat, usually. But it's hard, so the people are relying on the fact that when he gives me a cookie to eat, I become his guest, and when he gives me a cookie to eat, that becomes my house, which is very not common. The Magen Avraham does say it's not good, but it's difficult that each girl, each apartment should light candles for themselves, or they should all come together in the dining room and one should light candles for all. So they're relying on that, but it's not simple.
We live in the dining room, right?
But what if their parents at home light for them, like a makna and the candle, and then they just see them on the hall?
But I don't know. But because when you see in the hall, probably has to be also in your house. I don't know. Could be it would be enough, because if they light for you in your house, and you see somewhere else, could be.
Can the lighting in the hall even have a bracha if it's no one's house?
If you light in somebody's house which is not your house, you cannot say a bracha. That's what the Ram and the Magen Avraham does say, unless someone says different. But usually the Rabbi is relying usually on Magen Avraham and Taz, unless there is simple, rare places that he proves not like what they say. So usually we rely on them, and they both say the same thing, that Beisei means where you live, not where you go to eat for a meal or for 2 hours. So to do it the proper way is difficult. Could be your way is correct, because you see here the candles and they're lighting for you. So they have to pick it up and be mezaki you. But I don't know. Most of seminars, you should know better than me. Don't usually seminars go to the principal? No, so what do you do?
We live in the dining room. Yeah.
He comes to
the seminary. And
the dining room?
That's what happened for us.
That's
He has a bracha for you.
that's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
That's good if he eats there sometimes.
Oh.
If he eats there sometimes, then it could be considered as his. Not when it comes one time.
So he makes a
No,
bracha
but
twice.
is it okay?
No,
One in his house and one in Saturday?
no.
By me?
And one in his house and one there is only for those that light candles in the shul. Candles in the shul is a separate minhag, and therefore when you light in the shul, then you go home, you light again with the bracha. But if you decide that this is your place, so in the house, one of your sons could light,
Yeah.
or your wife.
I mean, my grandfather lived in the dining room and my grandmother lived in their house.
Yes, that's proper. That's no. If he eats sometimes there is no problem.
Shulem who light in like outside, they don't say a bracha, right?
If shluchim say on the side the broche, it's not being made yet. They're not yetze for the house. It should do separate takonos. Just like when you light in the shul, you still have to light in the house. Same thing if you light in the street, you still have. It's like a shul. Therefore, some shluchim, when they light in the street, they daven mincha before. Like it should become like a shul, and in the shul there is a takone, that you could light for the brocha.
But
But
what's the point of lighting in the shul? Like in general, I mean, obviously I know for Chabad we do it
it
for
says
Pesach,
it
but-
says that the minhag is different than in the house.
Mm-hmm.
In shul, we don't light the candles in the door.
Right.
You could light it by the corner, by the wall. In shul, we don't light the candles lower than 10. We light it high. And there's some other differences. In shul, you always light the candles. They should stay on the length from Mizrach to Ma'ariv. Why is it all this? Because when we do in the shul, we want to remind ourselves of the candles in the Beis Hamikdash, which is not only to the minhag of Neri Shubeisei, just like the Beis Hamikdash. Therefore, all these three things are like in Beis Hamikdash. In Beis Hamikdash, it used to be on the wall when you come in, and in the length, not like this. So therefore, we do that in the shul too. On the dorm side of the shul, in the length, and it's higher. So therefore, it's a separate takone. It should be something to remind us of the candles itself, not only of the ness of the neres. But if the principal goes to light candles in the dining room for all the girls, then it's his place, so he's yetzer with that. He can't say a bracha then at home, only his wife or one of his sons.
So they only started lighting a menorah in shuls after the Churban?
Yeah, much later. It's a takonut, much later it started. Yeah, they didn't do it right then.